Live your life like a dreamer. Fly all over the world. Open your shut so the world can see. You're a beautiful pearl. Live your day like you mean it. And don't forget who you are. You're free to go anywhere. There's no distance too far. And I just can't get enough of your energy. I just can't get enough. You're the spark shining in the dark. Oh, 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 oh.
Welcome to It Is What It Is with Cindy Sevell. So happy you're here today. It Is What It Is a show, as most of you know already. It's a show all about overcoming adversity in life. We all have stories. We all have adversity. How do we overcome that adversity, and how do we inspire others through overcoming? So let's get to mitzvah time. What's a mitzvah? A mitzvah is a good deed. I'm going to talk about a mitzvah that my guests Jen and Jeff, they do on a daily basis. And I won't get too much into the story because that's what the show is about. Gears in Heaven. It's called Gears in Heaven. Jen and Jeff started this amazing foundation organization, and it's all about helping others get through something that they personally got through themselves, losing a loved one in an automobile accident or a motorcycle accident. And we'll get into that as we get into the show. But amazing mitzvah. That's a mitzvah. That's a good deed. So do a mitzvah. I challenge you every day to do mitzvot. Mitzvot is many mitzvahs, and it is a Hebrew word. So do those mitzvahs and let me know. Share them. Now the giveaway. I have one of my books here. Is called I Am. And I Am is a book about the beauties of being different, the beauties of diversity. And I have a couple of other books in the works. So I know you've seen a few of my books. I've got 3 books out so far. I've had 27 children help me with this. Now I do have a school in the Bronx helping me with my next one, PS 92. The children illustrate my books. And they also shared in here what diversity means to them, and it's beautiful. I mean, everything, all the comments, all the thoughts, absolutely beautiful. So the beauties of diversity. The way to win this book, comment, like, and share the show, all right? So when we come back, you're going to meet 2 fabulous people, Jen and Jeff. And Jen and Jeff, they founded Gears in Heaven. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
Silvermine at Home, a Connecticut-based non-medical home care agency servicing Connecticut and parts of New York. Silvermine caters to their clients' needs while offering peace of mind to their families so their loved one can age in place and live their best life possible. Call today to see how they can make a difference in you or your loved one's life. Our family caring for yours. Visit silvermineathome.com or call 203-228-5007.
Welcome back to It Is What It Is with Cindy Sevell. We have Jen and we have Jeff Verlastro here with Gears in Heaven. Welcome, Jen. Welcome, Jeff.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you. It's a pleasure
Thank
to be
you for
here.
being here. I appreciate it. You're from my neck of the woods.
Yes, we are. Yeah.
And you got here before I did.
Yeah.
So we met through a mutual friend.
Yes.
And a new friend for me, a fabulous guy. And I'm so grateful he put us in touch. And it's crazy how our lives sort of intertwine without us even realizing it.
Yep.
You know?
It's amazing.
Yeah, they say, the world is a really small place. I always say be on your best behavior because you never know who knows who.
Absolutely.
Right?
The way it is.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So he opened my eyes to you. He made the introduction to, for us. And you lost your son tragically this year.
Yes.
I'm very sorry.
Thank
I
you
mean,
so
it hurts my heart. It really does. I'm holding back my tears. I'm very sensitive. I mean, today is my daughter's birthday. And so I can't even imagine what you guys are going through. When did it happen?
It was May 1st. It was Brandon's 22nd birthday.
It was on his birthday, too.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
He came over to our house to pick up the bike out of the garage, drop off his car, because in our town there was a huge car show going on that morning, and Brandon was a huge motorsport enthusiast. Cars, trucks, bikes, it was everything to him. He was some of his friends were showing their cars, so they were already there. Others were on their way up. So he was going to take his motorcycle with his girlfriend to go get breakfast in Danbury, the town below us, to meet a couple of his friends, and then all head up and meet up with everybody. And the accident happened, and it was right in the center of our town. So all of his friends that were coming up, all of the friends that were at the show, all of his friends that were at his workplace, which is right down the road from where he worked at Max BMW Motorcycles, they were having a big demonstration that day. And everyone heard the news because everybody knew his bike. Everybody saw his bike in 1,000 pieces on the road, and word spread, and we all met at the epicenter.
Wow. Wow.
It was awful.
On his birthday, on his 22nd birthday.
I'm
It was
just
awful.
This year.
He just hugged Jen
Yeah.
right before he went down the road.
Wow. You got that last hug. Thank God. Thank God. I mean, these are things you probably treasure and hold
absolutely.
on to. And,
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. There was a lot of things that had happened. We came to find this out afterwards. I think it was the day before. Him and about 6 of his friends who also ride, they all took a very long trip on their motorcycles together, like all through Kent Falls and all around like the border of Massachusetts and back. And that's something that they never really got to do. But for some reason, they did that the day before.
Oh, wow.
All that week, he had actually been able to stop by and see several friends, several family, which was also very strange because everybody at the funeral had said to me, I just saw him the other day, or he just stopped over my house. He was just there. And that's the type of kid he was.
Yeah.
He was always visiting people. He was always helping people. Thus why, this was created what we do now.
Right.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about Brandon. I want to learn about Brandon.
He was the best.
Yeah.
Really super polite, super helpful, always inquisitive, somebody who could just have a conversation with anyone. He would walk into a room of strangers, have no idea of anyone or what their interests were or what was going on, and leave with friends.
Yeah. He was an old soul.
Yeah.
He loved
Yeah, it didn't matter who you were, what
Yeah.
generation you were from, or what your interests were, what you got into. He managed to find a way to talk to you. And
Yep.
some people actually made the comment, like the first time they met him, it was kind of weird. Like he just came up to me out of nowhere and started talking to me, and no one
Yeah.
talked to me,
And
especially
he wanted them to talk to him.
the motorsport community at the car shows or the bike meets or whatever. People with very ingrained, products and builds, the new person on the block who might not have a nice car or a good bike, they're kind of intimidated, where Brandon wanted to include everybody and bring them in and hype them up. And it didn't matter if your car was a piece of garbage. He would tell you something that was good about it and help you on it.
Yeah,
And
tell you this.
a lot of where Brandon grew up, is very diverse. A lot of different languages and different cultures, and a lot of the kids at his memorial services all made the comment that Brandon was the only person who came up to him, and they couldn't even speak English. And They communicated through the cars, through the engines, through the motorcycles, and they became friends.
Yeah.
It's like their own language.
Yes.
It's like a shared, universal.
And everybody,
Language
that
that
was
brought
with
it together.
Brandon, everyone has a story, everybody has some
Yeah.
value,
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
everybody has a struggle.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. He didn't like to see anyone suffer or be left out, because he had his own, like when we were growing up, kids are awful.
Kids
he
can
was
be
heavier, when he was younger, 7, 8, 9 years old, when he was in Boy Scouts and such. And I think he remembered how that felt, being teased when he went to go swimming at the pool because, he was a little bit heavier than the other kids,
Yeah.
and he never wanted someone else to feel that way. So he did what he could to be all inclusive.
Right.
One of his very, very, very close friends, severely handicapped, was like his best friend, because he had been teasing him on the bus. Somebody had been teasing him, on the bus. And my son said, "Oh no, no,
Not gonna have that.
no, not going to have any of that." And they just gravitated towards each other. And right before the week before he died, he was still hanging out with him. And this happened, I think, when him and Chance met. They were like 5 years old, something like that. Yeah. So he loved the young kids, and he also loved the old, but especially the old. He liked hearing about veterans and their war stories and what they had been through. He wanted to hear. He wanted to hear about all that stuff. He even liked older music.
Wow.
The old war music, the veterans that you used to listen to.
Yeah.
And one of his goals was, when he got older and, he made all the money that he was going to make because he was doing big things, he was going to start a nonprofit organization that was all about people helping people that couldn't.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
He was
that's-
going to call it Young for Old.
Yeah, because
that was
always,
yeah.
it always broke his heart to see older people, that couldn't shovel their driveway or just couldn't take out the garbage, or they didn't have any family left. They outlived everyone. That always bothered him. So,
Yeah, so he was going to have the
we
younger
put this-
people help the older people.
yeah, we put this into his legacy and said we're going to do this for Brandon, and what would Brandon do in this situation?
Right.
And this is exactly what he would do. He always put himself to the side and
Always.
Mm-hmm.
helped somebody else, because that's eventually what's going to help you.
Right. He definitely is an old, he was an old soul.
Yeah.
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 Let me ask you, growing up, what did he do, like after high school? What was his path?
He was all about vehicles.
Everything was vehicles.
So when he was younger, he would go into all the car dealerships and eyeball the cars and look at the prices and the this and that, because he was going to get one. And he knew so much about the cars that even the salespeople, he wasn't annoying.
Yeah.
They were super impressed, and everyone used to always say to him, "Oh, where's your dad have a shot? Like, how do you know this?"
Yeah.
He was like, "No, I just watch videos, I read books, I'm just into it."
Wow.
And one of the guys at Subaru, he would come in so much because his generation, they're all about those newer import cars. Subaru was his dream first car. So they said, "Listen, when you turn 18, come back here. I'm going to hire you."
Wow.
On his 18th birthday, he went in
Yeah.
and got a
did.
job there. But before that, he was a certified emissions inspector for the state of Connecticut at the age of 17.
Wow.
Yeah, he was working his whole youth, working in
Where
little
did he work?
shops. In Danbury, there's a few smaller shops,
Okay.
and then he worked for Colonial Subaru. He worked for Mercedes-Benz of Danbury, and then he worked for Max BMW Motorsports, because everyone kind of picked him up wherever he was working. They
Right.
met him and interacted, and every manager was like,
I gotta
I
have
gotta
one.
have this guy.
yeah.
I gotta
It's
have him.
It was uncanny. I mean,
Yeah.
I remember one time specifically, we were at a car show, and he was talking with some of these older guys who had these really souped up muscle cars, and he knew so much about the engines and the torque and the compression, and
Wow.
the guys were so kind of taken back. And at first, I thought he was just rambling and talking nonsense. And he wasn't. And one of the guys was like, "Wow, what do you do? Like, do you have?" And I was like, "No, man, this is all him. I'm into it. I'm an enthusiast, but
Yeah.
nothing compared to that."
Wow.
And normally you wouldn't see Brandon ever pick up a book or like.
No, I was just gonna
Right.
say
not,
that too.
not on that kind of level, but
No.
if it came about engines or cars or exhaust or just
Yeah.
anything mechanical of that nature, he just went full into it.
Yeah.
Right. And it's a great community, the biker community and the
Yes.
old car
Yeah, and
community.
the truck drivers,
Yeah.
they're extremely tight and so
Yeah.
caring, and that's kind of was the birth of all of this too, because we had such an outpouring of support, and it made us realize that this is what Brandon saw and what Brandon felt and what Brandon wanted. He always wanted a community. He always wanted, he would set up car meets. His friend Chance and he would set up what he would call their dream rides, and he would go out with them somewhere unannounced, thinking it was a normal day, and then out of nowhere he would get his friends with supercars, Lamborghinis, the
Wow.
craziest vehicles
Right, the craziest ones out
that would
there.
just be outside of wherever they were,
Yeah.
and then they would get the kid into one of those cars and take him for it was.
Wow.
He made
Yeah.
people's dreams come true with that. It was phenomenal, and that was we wanted to pay it forward in his legacy, and that's kind of what Gears in Heaven is all about. Is when a family and family can be their friends too, because family sometimes isn't just the one you're born into; it's the one
chosen.
you choose. Yeah,
I
in the
agree.
biker community, the car community, truck community. They're very tight, and some families don't understand that,
Yeah.
or they don't know how to channel all of that love and energy. And there's so much of it that there's only enough that one family can take. I mean, there was some points for us we were like, guys, give us a reason.
Give us
We don't
everything
want to
else.
help, but there's
Yeah.
another
Yeah.
accident, there's something else we can.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it all
Yeah.
morphed.
Yeah.
How do you
Turn
how do you
into-
cope? How do you deal with this such a terrible loss? I can't even imagine your pain. I mean,
It's not even coping. It's just,
Yeah, it's not coping.
it-
It's just,
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know how you do it, really.
You really, you
Yeah.
kind of don't. You just move. You just move forward. I always like to say that there's nothing we can do to turn back time, and we can't change anything. And the only thing we can do is move the story forward and continue in Brandon's honor and legacy, and make him proud.
exactly. If you were to give advice to somebody, I mean, you deal with people, through Gears in Heaven. I mean, you work with people who have also gone through loss.
Correct.
What would be the one piece of advice you could give them?
One day at a time, really.
And do what feels right for you.
For you, yeah, I was just
If
say
you
that
need
too.
to stay in bed, you stay in bed.
Yep.
If you need to scream out loud, scream out loud. There's
Yeah.
no certain path that you have to follow. There's no right and wrong. And everyone is different. Time is different. There's going to be days where it's not okay, but it's just not as terrible.
Right.
And then there's some days that it's even worse than it's ever been.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Have you gone for counseling? Do you get
Oh yeah.
counseling?
Yeah.
You do? Good.
Yeah. We both have to. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have to help other people too.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure there are groups. There's grief counseling groups. I mean,
There's a lot on the internet
Oh,
too,
there's
which
a lot
is
on
great.
the internet.
Yeah.
There's a lot professionally out there,
Yeah.
and a lot of the help that I feel sometimes is the best, especially for me, is just with the everyday person. Sometimes
Yes.
it's someone who has experienced a similar tragedy, and sometimes it's someone who hasn't, but that's their worst fear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And seeing in their eyes that they're playing in their mind a videotape that their kid isn't there, and you see the horror in their eyes, and it's still not even compared to what you're going through.
Right.
But then I also like to think about, as horrible as our situation is, there's a lot of people out there that have things a lot worse.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I
Well,
know one thing, if my son came back right now, he would be on that motorcycle.
absolutely.
Without
Yeah.
a doubt.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Without a doubt.
I can understand that. I love motorcycles myself, and it's a love.
Oh, it
It's
is.
his love. It was his passion.
Yeah, he felt free on it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna take a quick break.
Okay.
And don't go anywhere. More from Jen and Jeff when we come back after this commercial break.
Do you or a loved one need the care of a nursing home? A vibrant community to call home where there are healthcare professionals available 24/7? Candlewood Valley Health and Rehabilitation, located in New Milford, Connecticut, has been offering award-winning care for over 40 years. Whether you are rehabilitating from a cardiac procedure or hip replacement, or seeking a place for your loved one to live where he or she can receive top-notch health care, our team is at the ready. We also accept veteran benefits and offer a special, secure memory care unit for residents with Alzheimer's or cognitive-related conditions. Call us at 860-355-0971. Candlewood Valley Health and Rehabilitation, a place to heal and thrive. Ballas Associates, sales, service, and support for all your computer and PC networking needs. Whether it's wired or wireless, upgrades or repairs, backup or disaster recovery, we can provide the solutions to all your PC needs. No need to get frustrated. You know a guy. Just call Ballas Associates at 203-792-2300. That's 203-792-2300. Or visit them online at ballasassociates.com.
Welcome back to It Is What It Is with Cindy Sevell. We have Jen and Jeff here. So welcome back. So let's talk about how you started Gears in Heaven. And what does the name mean to you, Gears in Heaven?
It means my son, because he's the ultimate gearhead.
In heaven.
And if there is a place of heaven, he's there. He was there the second that the accident happened, because there was no one more pure. He really was. That's the only way I can describe his character. And everyone said the same thing. I mean, the news articles, people that he worked with, everyone always said the same thing. He was so nice, so polite, so engaging, so enthusiastic. Always had a smile on his face. And if you did something to wrong him, he wouldn't say anything bad about you.
Really?
Yeah. It wasn't
That's
his
pure.
character.
That's
Yeah, it wasn't
definitely
his
pure.
character to do that.
Right.
He just
right.
knew to set you aside
Yeah.
and be polite to you, but not to
Right.
include you in his
Right.
life.
And so he had so much support and friendship and love from the motorsport community that we actually needed to have a few different services to celebrate.
Wow.
And one of them was, there was going to be so many cars and trucks and bikes that wanted to come. We needed a place that could fit them all, but also they'd be able to do whatever they wanted to do. If they wanted to, show off their engines, the exhaust,
Yep.
where they wouldn't be harassed or bothered or bother anyone.
Right.
So there's a famous place in Connecticut called Lime Rock Park.
Yeah.
Paul Newman used to race up there.
I can't wait
It's
to go and race there.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
It's a beautiful setting. It's huge. So we rented a portion of that, and were able to have our own car show, bike show, and we called that Gears in Heaven because we wanted to be a celebration of life for anyone who lost a motorsport enthusiast to a vehicle accident. And it turned out to be extremely successful, way more than we had ever anticipated. And it took an extreme amount of work. In the interim, this was all within days of the accident happening too. So it really happened super fast. The name kind of just clicked in. We needed a name for kind of a title of what we were going to call the celebration of life. And we chose Gears in Heaven. And then it morphed into, we all wanted to find a place where we could donate some resources or some of our time in Brandon's legacy. And when we started looking for organizations that kind of met his interests, we didn't find too much or anything really in this space, which we thought was odd, and said, we're going to fill that void.
Yeah.
There's families out there that don't have resources, that can't bury somebody, that can't get to that side of the country to visit. It's awful. Or just don't even know the process. It's absolutely daunting what someone has to go through when a family member passes. The probate, the closing of accounts, everything, getting in contact with landlords, cell phone companies. There's so much documentation and legal process and hoops that you have to jump through.
Right.
And then you have to grieve and with
you're grieving.
How do
everything
you
else.
grieve when you have to deal with all
yeah,
the
exactly.
BS that, it's like the paper, like you say, the paperwork and the whole process.
And just coordinating sometimes, getting people to come from different parts of the country, and the funeral home, and the getting food for everybody. There's so much that
Absolutely.
we said this is something that we can do, and we all have had horrible experience in our life and have been through this type of situation. At least I have, and that was really important that we were able to do it for somebody that couldn't. Because for
Right.
us, you know, I've had a lot of tragedy in my life, and for me, I was in such a locked up shell for the first couple of days. It's like, man, if that happens to me, somebody who this is their first experience to mortality, it's going to be devastating to them. And that's something that I saw in the eyes of all of his friends that day at the accident scene.
Yeah.
That first taste of,
So you were at the accident scene?
oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, it was right down the road from our house. So his friends came
Yeah, it was like a whole other
up
story,
and said,
but
was
yeah.
Brandon, he was
He
supposed
never
to meet
showed
them
up for breakfast, obviously, because of the accident.
Okay.
So
And
his
they got reports of a bike down and that it looked like Brandon's bike. So they came to the house and was like, was he here? And Jen was like, yeah, he was just here.
he was just here. I said he was just
So they
here.
jumped
you
in
know?
the car and they rushed down there, and I rushed down from work, and we all met right there, and there was hundreds of people at the scene that all knew Brandon, and from the car show, from the way it was,
Plus the traffic, just everybody stopped. Everything stopped.
stopping. You know, it's
Yeah.
the only way through our town. It's a major route.
right.
2 lanes going north and 2 lanes going south, and everything was shut.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And everybody coming up was pretty much going to that car show that all knew my son.
Which car show was it?
It was
I
called
know a lot
Wheels
of-
for Wheels. It was a charity show at the John Pettibone Center,
Okay.
right there in New
'Cause I
Milford.
know a lot of the car shows. And
Yeah,
I love
yeah.
car shows.
So this one was, for benefit people that need wheelchairs.
Okay.
So it was Wheels for Wheels. They were all good kids. So
Yeah.
his friends were all there with their hyped up cars, the GTRs,
Yeah.
everything was there. And he was just gonna go down, get breakfast, come back, like they did every Sunday. Every Sunday they meet at Sunnyside up in Danbury for breakfast. That's
Yeah.
their routine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Brandon was usually always the first one there.
Right.
And that's why to them it was unnerving that he wasn't. And once they heard that there was a report, they rushed.
Right.
Yeah.
What about his girlfriend? You said his girlfriend was on the back of the bike.
Yeah.
She
so
was critically injured.
She was.
She's
Yeah.
she's got a long road of recovery. She's out of the hospital, fortunately. You know, she's walking and slowly getting her life back. But it's never going to be the same.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, relationship-wise too, with us, you know, everything. Your whole world changes. We're not the same people we were,
Of course.
after May 1st, and she's not either, understandably.
Yeah.
So it's hard. It's hard to mend that relationship with her, or not even mend it. Like try to figure out what that is.
Right.
And she's trying to figure out what her place is in life. You know, they dated for 5 years. They lived together.
Oh wow.
So they
were
had all
just-
the same
yeah.
friends, and
They were
yeah,
just about to,
probably get
get married
engaged and get married and
buy a house, have kids. I mean, that was Brandon's plan, at least.
Right.
They were just about to go on vacation together with her whole family to the Dominican Republic. They had resorts booked and plane tickets bought, and
jeez.
passports were on their way. That was supposed to be just a couple of weeks after his birthday. We had actually just spoken about that he didn't really need to bring much clothes. He was just going to bring his beach clothes.
Yeah.
just hang out.
It's crazy how your life, in the blink of an eye.
Every day. And
Yeah,
that's something growing up I
it's-
always told Brandon, because I've experienced loss too much that, always tell somebody how you feel, no matter what, even if you're just like leaving the room.
Yep.
Just say, hey, I love you. I miss you. Because you're never going to get that chance again. And it always happens in a way that you're never planning.
No. Yeah.
Everybody's got some, thing in their head that this is the way it's going to go, and I'm going to be
No.
old, and she's going to be
Right.
old, and blah, blah, blah. And
Yeah, we're gonna die with a white picket fence in the
Nobody-
front with a comforter,
nobody-
nice and
no,
cozy.
no,
it
no.
doesn't happen like that.
It
You know,
doesn't.
Especially when tragedy,
It doesn't.
man, it's the craziest
Yeah.
part of life is
Yeah.
it'll show you something and
Yeah.
teach you lessons that nobody can write about, no Hollywood director can put on a screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Truth is always stranger than fiction, and just when you think you have life figured out, it shows you that you don't
Sure
have
does.
nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, you're right. I remember, living a very sheltered life. I mean, many of us have, and you never really realize. You don't think anything. You think you're invincible.
Yes.
Everyone thinks they're invincible,
Yes.
right? And then disaster strikes, whatever it is, and it's different for everybody. In my case, it was my cancer. Literally from one minute to the next. Oh my God, I'm living and then I'm dying. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so, I mean, again, it's nothing in comparison. And you're right. People always have something worse, you know, when you look around. But yeah, just it's crazy how life can turn upside down in the blink of an eye, you know, and I agree with you. I think that's the best advice. I mean, that was going to be part of my final thoughts is, yeah, like.
And that's how we were all the time. Because, you know, Jeff had brought that up to him when he was little. We always said, we love you, you know.
Yeah.
On the phone, we hung up when he was over. You know, we were always hugging each other and loving each other. Even when we were fighting and arguing about stupid stuff, you know, there was always a commonality at the end saying, okay, I still love you even though I'm mad at you right now, you know. Yeah. So we're grateful for that as well, you know.
I do that with my kids also. I did it with my parents and, you know, I do it with my kids and, you know, and always, I love you. Mwah.
Yeah.
With a kiss. I love you. Mwah.
Texting, you know.
Yeah,
love you.
always. Yeah.
Just because you're on my mind.
All the time.
Yeah.
Whenever her and I are fighting, I still say it. I know you're not talking to me, but I love you.
I love you too.
She doesn't say it out loud.
Oh, but that's healthy. It's healthy.
It's healthy.
So when did you decide to start this? Like, did it just happen, like, right away? The Gears in Heaven?
So the celebration of life was June 25th, that he had mentioned in Lime Rock Park.
And we started talking about that May 5th originally was when I contacted everybody at all the parks because I knew I needed something.
Right.
But really, I mean, a lot of it popped into my head at the accident scene, and then the next night when when they had a candlelight vigil for him at the scene.
Wow.
And that's really when because I saw the kids, and they're not kids, they're grown-ups.
Yeah,
But
we call
to me,
them
they're
kids.
They grew up with us.
Absolutely.
Most
They're
of them, I
kids.
tell them they're my sons.
Of
you
course.
know, they're. I saw like the loss and they didn't have any direction. They didn't know where to go. They didn't know what to do, and some of them, I know their families. They don't have the resources, and if this were to happen to them, what would their family do?
Right.
I said, I can't let that ever happen. Even no matter what the situation is, we have people ask us the question, what if it was their fault? That's not the family's problem.
Right.
It was a soul, it was a person, somebody is devastated.
Absolutely.
And if somebody's injured, it doesn't matter. Like, we have to help each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it came to fruition right away. We officially put everything into the works in the beginning of June. That's when everything we said, you know, we're going to make it a nonprofit and really push it forward. So we put up a website. We got incorporated with the Secretary of State. Did the whole Department of Consumer Protection, tax services. Did the bylaws. Really pushed into the IRS for 501c3 status. I mean, we did a lot.
Wow. That's a lot in a short period of
Yeah,
time.
and we put together the whole production at Lime Rock, which was huge.
Yeah.
And even the management at Lime Rock said, "There's only two of you did this. Like, we deal with big professional production companies that can't get it done, and you've gotten this done in a month." And at first they thought it was just going to be like a bunch of kids with a picnic, picnic, and it was not. It was a full-blown thing, and we had the autocross rented out for the day, so the kids could bring their cars out onto the track, and it was all safe. They had the race instructors there teaching them how to drive properly and what to do if your car slides, how to brake properly. It was really like, it was amazing, and we kind of grew out of that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
We thought it was just going to be like a once in a while we were going to do car shows or memorials for people, and it really, I mean, we're learning as we go, and it's developing as it goes, and it's growing, which is something we expected, but
not this
didn't
fast,
anticipate.
It's
weird.
Yeah.
Well, you know, we're caught in this new life now, you know, and but people have been crossing our paths like you. And it's amazing how things happen. Hundreds of people, though, at this point.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
We've directly helped 14 families in the New England area that have lost a loved one to them.
That's
that was a
incredible.
motorsport enthusiast to a vehicle accident.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
What a beautiful tribute to your son. Really. He's
everything.
driving you, and yeah.
Keep it
Literally
going.
driving you. He is literally driving you.
Yes.
He's our fuel.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yes. Wow. Well, this is a good stopping point.
Okay.
Until our next segment.
Perfect.
I don't expect to cry so much. We'll be right back after this commercial break. Don't go anywhere.
Silvermine at Home, a Connecticut-based non-medical home care agency servicing Connecticut and parts of New York. Silvermine caters to their clients' needs while offering peace of mind to their families so their loved one can age in place and live their best life possible. Call today to see how they can make a difference in you or your loved one's life. Our family caring for yours. Visit silvermineathome.com or call 203-228-5007. Do you or a loved one need the care of a nursing home? A vibrant community to call home where there are healthcare professionals available 24/7? Candlewood Valley Health and Rehabilitation, located in New Milford, Connecticut, has been offering award-winning care for over 40 years. Whether you are rehabilitating from a cardiac procedure or hip replacement, or seeking a place for your loved one to live where he or she can receive top-notch health care, our team is at the ready. We also accept veteran benefits and offer a special secure memory care unit for residents with Alzheimer's or cognitive-related conditions. Call us at 860-355-0971. Candlewood Valley Health and Rehabilitation, a place to heal and thrive.
Hey there! I'm Captain Splish. I'm the superhero of swimming. I'll teach you to be water safe with all my swimming skills, along with all my singular friends here in Splish Splashville. Myrtle the turtle, Octi the octopus, Starry the starfish, and that's just a few. You'll learn all about what your body can do. My superpower is to teach with song and rhyme, and that helps you remember what you learn every time. You'll learn to float and you'll learn to swim, from blowing bubbles to jumping in. Each week, you'll learn something new. You'll be amazed at what your body can do. I'm so excited for you to see the show, but now Captain Splash has to go. See you soon. Bye.
Welcome back to It Is What It Is with Cindy Sevell. We have Jen and Jeff here. So Jen and Jeff, thank you again. Thank you for sharing all of this with us. And tell me a little bit about Gears in Heaven, the picture on your shirts. How did you come up with that?
So this is not the original logo. We just kind of started out, when we started everything that Jeff had mentioned before about Lime Rock Park, we wanted to make t-shirts and give them away that day. And we're like, we need a logo. So came up with a very similar logo, a little bit of a flatter one, and then a friend of ours helped us with this. And it's just a gear and two wings and a halo, kind of a nod off to our son. And on the back of our shirts, we have a line drawing of our son on his bike. And
it's a real picture.
It's a real picture that we had a line drawing made out of. I'm sorry. And the stickers that are on his bike all had different, a Honda and things of that nature, but we removed that and put stickers that represented him and what he was. So they say love, giving,
humble,
hope, respect, things of that nature. So it's a little nice touch, for his.
Make it real
and
personal.
it makes it personal.
I love it.
Thank you.
I love it.
I
I
got it
love
on
it.
my neck.
Yeah, I saw it. And actually, your wife showed me her tattoo because ironically, and this is a crazy story, the other day, it was on Thursday, I think it was.
Yeah.
On Thursday, you had an event at your new job.
Yes.
And I went to the event and not knowing that you worked there, and I used to work there. I mean, again, it's crazy how the universe works.
Yes.
Synchronicity.
Synchronicity.
Weird, right?
That's my word.
Yes.
That's my word, is synchronicity. That's my big word. So
And that's kind of how this kind of
all
turned
has
out
been
too. It's been
from the
very
very beginning.
weird.
Yeah.
Just the link up of
people
people and time and space, and even with the whole Lime Rock thing, like it just happened to be they had availability on that particular day, and there was racing going. It just, even everybody involved with it is like, this is so weird that this is happening, and we're like, yeah, we know.
Yeah, we know.
You know what I always say?
But it's meant to be.
That's it. Things happen the way they're meant to happen.
Yes.
They do. And again, we don't always understand why things happen, and like horrible things happen. Why do they happen? Why? In my book, I write, why do bad things happen to good people? Like, I'll never understand that. Is there a lesson? I mean, why do they have to use the good people to teach us a lesson, or whatever it is? I don't understand, and we'll never really understand. And I've come to the conclusion that that I understand that I'll never understand certain things, right?
And sometimes
Right.
bad things do happen to
Yeah.
bad people, but we don't recognize it, or we were like, yay, they
Yeah.
deserve that. Or sometimes that's why bad people are bad people, because something bad happened and they didn't
could
know
be.
how to
Right.
deal. So, you know,
Right.
I tell people growing up when Brandon was growing up, we always referred to the story of Job in the Bible. Like, there's struggles. You're going to be tested in life. If you haven't been, you're not a real person. And that's my opinion. If your whole
Right.
life it's been chipper and happy,
Yes.
and you haven't been turned upside down and
Yeah.
shown like how horrible life can be and how traumatic it can be, then you really haven't had real lesson.
Yeah. Yeah. It builds character.
It
does.
humbles
Yeah.
you. It builds
Yes.
character.
Yeah.
And it teaches you like the value of life, and to respect moments and to cherish things. And
Yeah. And you know, life is about choice. And
Yes.
what do you choose? You know, when you're dealt with something terrible, like what do you choose to do with this?
Right.
You know,
Right.
I mean, some people will curl up and wither away, or be angry at the world, or you know, I don't know, and or die, and you know, other people choose to take this and whatever it is, and to I don't say grow with it, but grow from it. But yeah, in a sense, you're kind of growing. You know, it changes, it alters your life. It changes the
Absolutely.
course, like you say. It changes. You never thought you would be sitting here today. You never thought you would have gears in heaven. Obviously, you never would have. You know, it's like a major detour in your life.
Right.
total transformation.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because as you go through life, you picture the future. Everybody's always looking
Yeah.
for the future.
Yeah.
Oh, I picture this happening with my son, or I picture this happening with my life,
Yeah.
or my house, or what have you. But
Yeah.
you can't think like that.
Right.
You kind of have to be in the now. You have to be day to day.
And I'll never forget at the accident scene, hearing just Jen screaming, "Jeff, this is not how it's supposed to be."
Oh,
And she was right. It's not. So now we have to take what has happened and make it into what it is.
That's it.
that's it. Yeah.
It is what it is, you know. But we have to make it good for other people too.
Yeah.
And
You know, and
everyone's
it
gonna
lets
know.
him live. And we get to talk about him. It's
Oh,
just
that's
sad.
good.
Today's a bad day when we're talking about him, but
And I know, listen, it's hard, but I wanted you guys to bring him to life. I wanted you to share about your son.
oh, and he's
and-
always with us. He's with us
Yeah,
constantly.
But to
We're
share
there.
with everybody watching,
Yeah.
you know your son.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people watching are not going to know your son, but they're going to be interested in this, and they're going to be interested in Gears in Heaven. And there's a big community out there, a big
Huge.
biker. You know, on my way here, I'm a biker. I'm a badass biker, bitch. And I started riding after my cancer. I said, life is short.
Yeah.
You don't know what tomorrow has in store.
Yeah.
It totally opened, because I lived a sheltered life. I thought, again, I was invincible. Nothing's ever going to happen.
Yep.
And, you know, cancer struck and changed my whole perspective on, I've always been a free spirit, happy-go-lucky. But now I realized, you know, we don't know what tomorrow has in store. We don't know what the next minute has in store.
Get up
Absolutely.
and dance, you might lose your feet.
That's
Yep.
it. You never know. You never know.
You never know.
So I decided I'm going to do everything I always wanted to do.
for
And
you.
racing is actually, I have to go to Lime Rock. Racing is on my bucket list.
Come to our next event.
Okay.
Yes.
Listen, you tell me
Yeah,
when.
no, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
you
Yeah.
tell me when, and I'm happy to support you guys really in any
you.
way I can.
Thank you so
In
And
much.
any
that's what
way.
we found was, you know, there is so much support out there,
Yeah.
and it's not even so much just from the motorsport enthusiast community, but everyone kind of, it's one of your first cautionary tales you're taught growing up was, oh, don't go in that car, be afraid of this or that, because
get that bike.
mommy or daddy knows someone who died in a motorcycle accident or got hit by a bus. And, you know, everyone on this planet, statistically, it's a fact that if by the time you're 18, if you do not know someone or the story of someone who has been had their life tragically altered by a vehicle accident,
Right.
there's more and more developed countries out there. There's more people on the road. There's more cars on the road. There's more bikes on the road.
Yeah.
It's happening more and more. There's more distracted driving, more everything. So it reaches into everybody
Oh,
everywhere.
it does.
Yeah.
Do you know my father and my brother, they have, well, my dad started this. He has a driving school. And why did
Really?
he start with the drive? And actually, I was going to ask you, do you contact the driving schools? You should.
Yes.
Yeah, you should. And I'll volunteer my family's driving school.
Awesome. No,
to,
that's
yeah,
super
incredible.
Cool.
to support in whatever
Well,
way.
that's one
Kind
part
of
of Gears
on
in
our
Heaven now
radar.
that we're starting to focus some of our attention on is education.
Yeah.
So we give out at all our events hand signals, motorcycle hand signals, and we're amazed still to this very day how many people, even that drive motorcycles, do not know hand
Oh, I
signals.
didn't know all of
Or
them.
they know like the basic ones, you
Yeah.
know, left, right, stop.
Yeah.
But there's so many more.
Oh, yeah.
It was like 14 on our sheet, I
and
think,
then,
or so.
some people don't even know what
Yeah.
their engine lights mean. They
Yeah.
don't understand safe braking distance.
Exactly.
Some of these people that think they have these race cars, they don't even know how to brake. They don't know about acceleration, the different types of acceleration.
Blind spots on the
yeah,
road.
really teaching
yeah.
everybody and
Tire
making
safety.
awareness for everyone that, motor vehicle accidents are actually the #1 cause of post-traumatic stress disorder in the United States.
I believe it.
Worldwide, actually, it
believe
is
it.
too.
Yeah.
There's over 3,000 fatal accidents
3269,
every
I believe the
single
last
day.
number was, yeah.
Well, do you know why my dad started the driving school?
No way.
No way.
Similar situation. His
Okay.
brother died in an automobile accident, and my dad didn't expect to go into. I mean, he was a teacher. He was going into teaching, but he never thought he would open a driving school, and he wanted to prevent that to happen, like to educate people so that it didn't happen to others, and if he could save another life. And
That's
and
it.
he's been doing this now for, I don't know, 40 years.
It's awesome.
Oh,
Or
wow.
more.
That's
So, and the
amazing.
driving school, and my grandfather used to teach also. So, yeah, so it kind of changed the course of my father's life. And my brother joined up, who was named after his uncle who passed in that accident. So,
Oh my gosh.
yeah, so I happily volunteer because they're big
Awesome.
into.
That's
Thank you.
My
That's
dad used to
incredible.
do motorcycle safety, bicycle safety, programs and
Right,
stuff.
right.
And yeah.
Yes, like I said, we're trying to incorporate that more and more into, like, on our website
Yeah.
and links. We're actually going to be offering a Stop the Bleed course.
Oh yeah,
So,
I heard about that from Dan.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
tell me.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
tell
yeah,
me.
yeah.
What is
so
that
we'll be
about?
offering 2 different courses. One's a Stop the Bleed, which will be free to whoever wants to sign up, and it's basically a hands-on with dummies in a classroom type setting, learning how to stop the bleed in case of a trauma, using
Right.
tourniquets, what to do, what not to do, who to call, when to call, how to take a helmet off of the head in a way that you don't do any more damage.
Real
fix-
accident scene management.
Real accident scene management. And the next one we're going to be doing probably more so next
heavy
year is
accident scene
heavy accident scene management.
That'll be a full day. That'll be 8 hours
Yeah.
in
Wow.
court, in
Yeah.
class, dummies, the whole nine. So, EMT style, but for the everyday person, because
Right.
you never know. You could just be in traffic and encounter in front of you
I
something
did
happens.
once.
And
I
what do you
did.
do? What do
I
you do?
did.
You
And
don't
what do
know.
you- yeah.
I didn't touch,
Some people
and I
forget-
called 911.
Some people forget to
Yeah.
even call
Call
911.
911.
Yeah, it was horrible.
Yeah.
It was horrible.
Yeah.
But I'm forever connected to. He passed. Forever connected to him, and
Yes.
yeah. And actually, I'm very spiritual. And almost 5 years later, he came to me at the site as I'm driving by, and I found his girlfriend. It's a whole long story.
Oh my-
I have to tell you, it literally validated that I have that ability, and I was able to find his girlfriend, who I never knew. I didn't know anything about this young man, and I was able to relay messages he gave to me that she needed to hear right at that moment. It was great. I
Oh
mean,
my gosh,
amazing.
that's
and
crazy.
yeah, he's forever connected to me.
And that's how we
Crazy.
feel with Brandon. Like a lot of this has all come to fruition in such weird, like kismet, synchronicity type of way, that it kind of just validates that, yeah, this
He's
really
what-
sucks. This is the worst thing ever,
It sure is.
but it is what it is, and this is what it's got to be.
It is what it is, and it sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's no other way to say it.
absolutely.
And it's gonna suck whether I sit here on the couch and feel sad for myself, or
Yeah.
I say
Yeah.
it sucks and I get out there and I kick some ass for some other people.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
What would my son want? Be
Yeah.
like, dude, get up and go kick some ass.
That's right. Absolutely.
Exactly. Well, we're almost at an end. I would love for you to tell everybody how they can find you.
Sure, www.gearsinheaven.org, and on any kind of social media platform that you use, Gears in Heaven, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube,
All of it, yeah.
TikTok. Some of it's not the best content, and some of it is kind of flat because we're still getting used to all of it. But it's kind of it's kind of overwhelming because there's so much going on, and we're learning as we go, and every family that we meet up with and talk to and learn from, it's all a growing experience. It's life.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Well, thank you for
having us.
thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing and bringing Brandon to life and letting me learn a little bit more about your beautiful son.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for giving us the opportunity to tell the story of him.
No, thank you. And I look forward to a long friendship.
Oh, absolutely.
With you guys. And
Oh, yeah.
especially,
Oh, yeah.
I'm telling you, we connected.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She
absolutely.
saw me. She goes, "Are you Cindy?" And it was like we knew each other.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
yeah.
Thank
I'm
you
looking
so much for
forward
that.
to
She said to me, she goes, "You know who I met today?" And I was like, "No, who?" She goes, "Cindy Sevell." And I go, "Of course you did." It's how
That's
all
how
of this
that's how all
happens,
this has
right?
been happening. Yeah, it's been crazy. But
I love
thank
it.
you again.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
This was great.
And with my final thoughts. Final thoughts. First of all, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for your support. Make sure you go find Gears in Heaven, support them. There's a lot of people. I have a lot of friends in the car and the automobile industry, and I'm sorry, that's car and automobile, car and bike and world. And you know, it does happen. Unfortunately, this does occur, and we do lose too many people. So check them out, Gears in Heaven. And final thoughts. Shitty things happen, bad things happen to good people, but you know, where's your life going to go from there? You know, like I said before, you can wither up, you can be angry at the world, or you can deal with this and move forward and help others. So with that, we'll see you next week. Thank you for tuning in, and have a great night.
Live your life like a dreamer. Fly all over the world. Open your shell so the world can see. You're a beautiful pearl. Live your day like you mean it. And don't forget who you are. You're free to go